our cogs before you came online.
We were born with transformation cogs, but he took them from us.
What defines a transformer is not the cog in his chest, but the spark that resides in their core. A spark that gives you the will to make your world better.
Transformers is an animated television series that originally aired from September 17, 1984 to November 11, 1987. Its success garnered worldwide acclaim and admiration among young children and teens. With a legacy that is rich with spin-offs and product lines that to this day litter toy shelves, one has to ask, what makes the Transformers so special? The answer lies in its characterization of its main protagonists and antagonists. In Transformers 1, the prequel story takes us back to the origins of the Autobots and Decepticons, where Optimus Prime and Megatron began as brothers in arms. However, this film reveals how fundamentally different those two iconic leaders are, not only in their goals, but in the way that they lead and develop throughout the story. In this video, I'm going to focus on Orion Pax's journey moving from healthy optimism into the transformational leadership of Optimus Prime. Roll out with me today on a journey in discovering what turned Orion Pax into such an effective leader and what eventually leads to his rise as a stalwart Autobot hero. The history of storytelling has been littered with heroes who embody fortitude, righteous stoicism, wisdom, and many other aspects that would make a great leader. Oftentimes, we view these character traits on their face as nothing more than actions that someone might take in their quest for glory. What I find is that people overlook a character's actual character, meaning most people misinterpret these individuals as just being boring or one note while missing the point of who they actually are. Orion Pax in Transformers 1 is a character who represents courage, compassion, and integrity. He undergoes what's known as a flat character arc, meaning he doesn't change internally over the course of the story, but instead, the story works to affirm his beliefs and truths. K.M. Weiland, author of Creating Character Arcs, stated that a flat character is one who already possesses their truth and does not change who they are. However, because of this, they change the world around them.
Fundamentally, the differences between a positive change arc and a flat arc is that in a positive change arc, the character isn't yet in possession of the perspective or the truth that will allow them to be most productive within the realm of the story world and what they're seeking within it. Whereas in a flat arc, the protagonist will be a character who is already in possession of the story's primary thematic truth, which allows them to be productive and proactive in the story.
Some of my favorite flat characters in fiction include the likes of Son Goku from Dragon Ball, Indiana Jones, Superman, Luke Skywalker, and of course the man himself, Optimus Prime. Flat characters can come in a few varieties, but here I'll just focus on positive flat arcs. You can see how flat characters often garner support and admiration just by being present. Most times it's simply because they are relentlessly being themselves. But what I've been able to figure out, flat characters already possess in them what most characters have been searching for. It's not that they lack a level of emotional complexity, it's simply because they choose to be themselves, and in most cases it's a willful decision. For example, Monkey D. Luffy is a self-assured, young pirate upstart whose dream is to become the king of the pirates. He lives in a world that is littered with powerful warlords, dangerous beasts, and other people with more flashy and seemingly dangerous powers that one could say outclasses his own. But through sheer determination and unwavering spirit, he and his crew are oftentimes the catalyst for change in their world. Because of his examples and unwavering determination, he was able to cultivate his crewmates by simply understanding them, showing them support, and ultimately giving them the choice to follow him. At no point is Luffy bending in character to the world around him, but instead the world is influenced by who he is on the inside. All these things don't make a positive flat character perfect, they just set up a basis for the character having a strong sense of self-identity. How do these qualities translate into Orion Pax in his character arc? First off, we need to run a quick comparison on their similar characteristics. Orion is a character who starts off as an inquisitive Energon miner from the lower levels of Iacon City. He is a bot who is filled with a sense of purpose and believes that he, as well as others like him, can be more than what their station in society imposes on them. His inner voice is one that believes the following statement: "We are more than this," in comparison to his best friend, whose inner monologue would most likely resemble this statement: "I am more than this." I'll save my analysis of D16 for a future video. Just like Luffy, Orion is passionate and has a dream that he has no problem in sharing with the rest of the world. Instead of pursuing a solitary mission, he welcomes those who are willing to follow him. In the late 1970s, James McGregor Burns wrote a book called Leadership. In this book, he contrasted transformational leadership and transactional leadership. Using Maslow's hierarchy of needs as a guide, Burns was able to explain these two leadership styles vividly to the public. Maslow's hierarchy of needs is a pyramid that illustrates the needs that motivate people. Burns posited that transactional leaders are only concerned with meeting followers' lower level needs. This style of leadership is often accompanied by a low level of engagement with followers. The statement as follows is an example of just this: "I promise you this in order for you to give me that." Transactional leaders seek to satisfy followers' lower level needs in exchange for hard work. Those needs being physiological, safety and security, and social. Transformational leaders, on the other hand, seek to go further by engaging followers on all levels. They have the tendency to want their followers to become complete individuals by finding themselves. From the beginning, Orion believes in the fundamental good of Cybertronians and is unwavering in his commitment to his people. He values freedom and justice, equality above all else. This deep-rooted belief forms the core of his leadership, and as a leader, he is both inspirational and moral. I've noticed that a lot of people have been saying that Orion comes off as selfish and reckless, harmful way. His actions typically are centered around finding a purpose outside of what's been assigned to him, and through that, he believes that he can liberate others. He has a bit of reckless naivety, sure, but painting him as someone who lacks care for others is just downright untrue. This movie likes to give away character traits in subtle moments. They happen so fast that if you blink, you'll miss it. For example, when Orion and the others find and revive Alpha Trion, they're met with Sentinel's henchmen. Alpha Trion demands that he stay behind in order to give the rest of the bots time to escape. Orion offered to stay in order to keep the old bot alive. It's clear that he didn't want him to be sacrificed, but ultimately chose to leave on Alpha Trion's command. There was more at stake than a victory in a single battle. Orion understood this. Transformational leaders have the tendency to engage followers on a personal level. They view their higher functioning needs as important to the success of the individual and the group, those needs being self-esteem and self-actualization. Examples of Orion engaging with those around him on a more intimate level would be when he reunited with the Iacon miners. In this scene, he doesn't tower over them and demand their respect. He kneels down, reveals the truth of the deception that has put them in chains, and lastly, but most importantly, gives them a choice to remain or free themselves from their shackles. Orion Pax consistently shows his ability to care about the well-being and the welfare of others, and that's very important when it does come to his relationship with his best friend D16. Orion and D's relationship, it may not seem complicated on the surface, but when you look at it past the pacing of the movie and take some time to study the characters' reactions versus their monologue, there is something important to be found there. That being the characters' truths. I believe that from the beginning of this film, Orion already knew who he was inside, and the transformation cogs were just the MacGuffins used to have the characters answer the call to adventure. It's been shown time and time again that Orion already had the sense of duty and responsibility that most leaders have, and not only that to himself, but to those around him. The T-Cogs were just a metaphor used to explain that sometimes all we need is a nudge in the right direction or the capital in order to reveal ourselves. I like to think of it as the same as money in our world. Most people don't change because they come into lots of money. The money only allows them to express more of who they are on the inside. While on the flip side, D16 became more aggressive with every upgrade. Orion's arc is about maintaining his values in the face of unrelenting pressure, while D's journey is a warning about how corrupt systems can produce individuals who lack a sense of self and thus become a manifestation of corruption. In Transformers 1, Orion packs his transformation into Optimus Prime. It's not just a tale of external heroics, but a profound journey of internal growth. Starting as a reckless, naive, and often immature individual, Orion's experiences, marked by hardship, failure, and sacrifice, shape him into the wise, charismatic leader revered by Autobots and fans alike. His story resonates because it mirrors our own struggles to rise above imperfections and embrace responsibility. When our heroes suffer crushing defeats, the thing that makes their return and ascension so powerful isn't their power or commanding visage. It was the moments in which they showed true leadership, love, and commitment to others and their goals. In a story of origin, Optimus is both a steadfast hero and a leader whose arc, though flat, is no less compelling, providing an unyielding beacon of hope against Megatron's dark descent. Orion Pax died that day, but fate would reward him with rebirth as Optimus Prime, a hero that's truly worth following and a transformational leader. I made this video with the purpose of outlining what makes a good leader, and what I had come to learn was that leaders aren't born, they're forged. Good leaders inspire those around them and care for those in need. Most of all, they value the autonomy of the individuals in a group. We live in a world in which we are more connected than we ever have been, yet we still feel a void, a deep rift between one another. I hope that what I tried to convey in this video finds you well. Sometimes we all need a bit of inspiration to nudge us in the right direction, and that's why we look to heroes. I'm Gamehead Ed. Thank you for watching.